Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the People's Portfolio. Okay, now I've got to say this week, guys, you've done me proud. Some of the suggestions that came in were absolutely fantastic. We've went and added them to the watch list. So the watch list is basically just going to be made up of suggestions that have came from the people for the People's Portfolio, and we're just going to track them. Okay, so quick little reflection on last week. We had Camarasa, Ikone, Harper and Mopai. Ikone and Mopai have had very good weeks. I don't think Harper's moved an inch and Camarasa's moved a little bit. So all right good prospects, and if we were looking to turn and sell somebody within a week, then we've definitely made, pardon me, the wrong decision on going with Camarasa. Ikone and Mopai have had decent rises over the last week. And if you got on them yourself, 7 days, 16% for Mopai, and for Ikone, 8%. So if you've been on them, then very well done to you. So this is the list we're going to be looking at today, as you can see from Mopai down. And we've went to the old school method. I've went through everything, prepped it all, screenshotted everything, and we're just going to do it more like a slideshow kind of thing. Okay, so there's a lot to go through, guys, so we'll just dive right in. Okay, so the first boy we've got to look at is Ferran Torres. Okay, now if it's not a name you're familiar with, I'd be surprised. He's kind of been one of these names that's been on the periphery of Spanish football this season, where he's been, especially on Football Index, he's had some good movements, and he's a young, exciting kind of right winger. And Valencia have got a great academy. Some of the players that came out of them that you'd be famous, it would be more famous, like your Matas and your Silvas and your Villas, come through their academy directly. And sometimes they grab guys from like Real Madrid academy that don't quite make it in Barcelona or whatever, and they put them through and get them going. So Valencia have got a good pedigree of youth players. So we like the look of this guy already. Okay. When we go and Google them and look for transfers and stuff like that, there's actually nothing really going on there, except for that one you see in the middle from 90minutes.com. 7 players who could move. That's all there is. There's no concrete links. There's no real speculation around them at the moment. So you can take that as you will. It might be, that there's no one has been public with it, or it's something that might went under the radar. Maybe a big club's like second or third choice, might be out the price range of smaller clubs. It's hard to see from the outside looking in on this one. Okay, when we drill into his stats, you can see there he's 19. He's only started 8 games in the league, 16 off the bench. So a lot of appearances, but he's obviously getting settled into the squad. So if they do sell players in the summer, that article there saying there's 7 that might leave. If his competition for position goes, then you could see him featuring more next season. And even with the stats he's got, with the limited game time he's had, it's fairly credible, considering Valencia got to the semi-finals of the Europa League, they won the Copa del Rey, and they finished in the top 4 in La Liga. So they've had quite a strong season this year under Marcelino. The next one we come to is Kurt Zouma. Okay, now I've got a good idea the reason Zouma was put to us for the People's Portfolio was because will he go back to Chelsea? Okay, now as you can see price wise. So I'm going to go 2 steps back here. If you look at Ferran Torres, a good thing I like about him is his pre-established ceiling there is easily £1.8, £1.7, £1.9, something like that. So he's got good scope for growth. With Zouma, we don't really have that. He's on his, this is the most expensive he's really been in recent times. 52 pence being the high there. So in terms of what's there on the table already, and these spikes have not been generated by Zouma playing amazing. It's been to do with the Chelsea transfer embargo. Okay. He's had good Premier League experience now after being on loan at Stoke and then being on loan at Everton, having a good season. So he's a capable Premier League defender. Is he good enough to play for Chelsea? It's hard to say. I personally, when Mourinho bought him, I thought this guy was going to be a superstar. Big, strong, French centre-back, great reputation from Ligue 1. And it's just not quite materialised for him for one reason or another. If you're an Everton, Chelsea or Stoke fan, you've watched him at close quarters, then feel free to share any insights you might have on the guy. When we look at his news, it's basically either will he go back to Everton or will Chelsea keep him? And you can see that story there from the Daily Mail. They were going to bring him on pre-season, so Sarri or whoever's in charge is going to have a better look at him to see if he can do the business for them. Okay. Now what I went and done as well, we'll look at this. Solid season for Everton, 29 starts, 2 goals, 2 assists, and just solid. Nothing amazing, nothing terribly poor. You see what you get. Now, this is the squad Chelsea have on flash scores at the moment. Okay, I don't know if there's any other credible centre halves out on loan that we need to take into consideration off the top of my head, okay? Gary Cahill's obviously out the door. So we've got Andres Christensen, David Luiz and Antonio Rudiger are definitely going to be the three first choices. I don't see Zuma displacing any of them. I don't see any of them being sold either. And we then have Cesar Azpilicueta, who is a versatile defender. Could play centre half, can play full back. Depends on who the manager is and what the system is. So I really don't see him being any better than fourth choice centre back for Chelsea. So Zuma's probably one we're going to put to the side and forget about. The next one we come to is Nathan Ake. Now Chelsea will probably wish they still had this guy kicking about, and I think Nathan Ake has been quite unlucky with the meteoric rise of Van Dijk and De Ligt, because this guy was looking, he's got a good number of caps for Holland, and he was definitely looking at being, you know, when that next generation of Dutch players coming through, he was definitely looked at somebody who could come in, good Premier League experience, he's got a lot of great attributes, he's brilliant on the ball, who's somebody who could come into that national team and really do a bit. He's still in the national team, don't get me wrong, but the centre-half partnership is De Ligt and Van Dijk, and the only way that's really going to change is if they go to a back three, and the Dutch are quite notorious for sticking to total football 4-3-3, the traditional Dutch formation, you know. But he's had a great season for Bournemouth, he's got a great reputation, a lot of people think really highly of him, and he's been linked to Spurs primarily. There's a big move linked there to Napoli, and I think that might have been off the back of it. If they sold Koulibaly, they'd maybe go for somebody like him. It doesn't look like Koulibaly's going, and it'd be better for his price anyway on Football Index if he goes to Spurs, and he's a very Spurs signing, you know, so I would not rule that out at all. We look at his stats, and you know, they're much better than Zuma's if you want to compare them there. 4 goals from basically the same amount of starts, higher tackles per game ratio, shots per game is decent, dribbles is very low, he gets the ball when he moves it, you know, he doesn't stay on the ball for too long himself, he wins the ball, moves it, wins the ball, moves it. Okay. The next guy we come to is Remy Odin. Okay, now this is not a name I was familiar with at all, to be honest with you, and I had to go and do a bit of research. I mean, you see his graph there, you can see he's been getting more and more popularity very gradually. You know, it's a 3-month rise from 40 to 60, so 50% over 3 months is a healthy return, but there's no big spikes in there. It's been a nice gradual upward slope, which is always attractive for jumping on someone. And as you can see, the top there, we're starting to kind of plateau and level out a little bit. There's no wild movements up and down going on. Who's he been linked with? We've got Watford and we've got Newcastle being the two primary targets. Now, if the Newcastle buyout takes place, then it's definitely the sort of person that Benitez might go and spend some money on. If you can get him for 7 million, fair enough, the 7 million's been rejected. Let's just say it's 10 million, 15 million, you know, but considering the money they spent on Almiron, and if Benitez is going to get a new owner and they're really going to make a full tilt at it, this is somebody who could quite easily be a bargain. And Newcastle have bought from France a lot, you know, so it's a scouting network they're familiar with. They're familiar with how to deal with the clubs and all that type of thing. So I'd say there's a good chance of that based on what we see in front of us. And then let's have a look at right midfield. He started 32 times for Reims, which is not a fashionable team. You know, they finished about mid-table. 32 games, 10 goals, 4 assists, shots per game over 2, tackles per game really high for a midfielder as well, dribbles per game quite low. But at the age of 22, he's also got a lot of room for growth, and the guy's had a great season, hat off to him. And if you look at where he plays, you know, out of these started 32 games, out of those 32 games, 23 of them have been AMR, right midfield. He's had 5 games off the bench, and then there's just like 2 appearances at centre, attacking mid, 1 appearance at left mid, and right forward 3 appearances. You know, pretty much everything's came from that AMR position. The next one we come to is Yassine Brahimi, okay, who is probably he's the oldest person we've had suggested to us, and he's somebody who I used to love when I gambled, like, traditionally. He's a great player when Porto were in Europe for a goal scorer. He had a stint, I think it was at West Ham on loan. I thought it was this season, but when I looked into him, it didn't seem to be. But yeah, he's an Algerian international, about the African Cup of Nations, I think. And he could quite easily get a decent move to a Premier League club like a West Ham or an Everton or whatever. And he's one of these older players that sometimes a club will pick up for a smaller fee, knowing what they'll get. And the guy, I'm 100% sure, has played Premier League football. I don't know. I had a lot to look through, guys, so I didn't go through everyone's full history like I did with Maupay and showed you like his international track record and whatever. Didn't really have the time for it, but yeah, it's a transfer that could come off. And at 46 pence, when he's playing well and he's potential to earn dividends, you can see 50 pence is very achievable. So if that's a margin you're happy with, then that could be something for you. And then the stats, and this is in Liga NOS, of course, the Portuguese league. 27 starts, 10 goals, 2 assists, and then his numbers are great, dribbles and shots per game, lovely. And the next person we come to is Habib Diallo. Okay, now his strike partner Ibrahim Nayan has had a lot of praise on the index. He's had a lot of attention. He's had a lot of movement, which is nice. This guy's went under the radar a little bit. He's also had a nice big growth there, which is great to see. But the age he's at, he's 7 years younger than me. So he is 24, okay? So at 24, he's not like the up-and-coming 19-year-old that everyone in the Football Index wants to get excited about as much. But he's somebody, again, who could make a move to somebody. Now, the only people he's got linked with is Fenerbahce. There's not much going on with him in terms of transfers or anything like this at the moment, which is probably why his price, as you can see at the top of the graph there, it's starting to take a wee backward movement because there's nothing really happened. If he's in the Senegal team, which again I've not went forward and looked at, feel free to do it yourself. African Cup of Nations does well like that, then players get signed out of that thing all the time. And then I had to, WhoScored.com didn't have any stats for French League 2, which doesn't surprise me. But he was the second top goal scorer as Metz won the league and got promoted. 26 goals, 5 assists, which is, in any league, I don't care who you are, that is a phenomenal return. So, yeah, he'll probably move to someday, it might be somebody else in France, could be Spain, could be anywhere really. But yeah, for the price he's at, and if he's in a qualifying league doing 26 goals, hey ho. And the next person we come to is Dwight McNeil. Okay, now Dwight McNeil was very close to coming into this portfolio at the embryonic stages to be part of that safe core that we were holding, but I decided against him because I'm not really sure if he's going to leave Burnley this year. And as much as he's well thought of and he's done really well, you're looking for your safe core to have a little bit of a star factor, a wee bit of potential media and a few other things. So he didn't quite make it, but somebody we've looked at already. And all the press stuff about him is just how great he's doing. He's in the England teams, he's going to tournaments. If he does well, these things and transfer links can come off the back of that, no problem at all. Burnley will sell for the right price. They've done it before with, who's the boys up front for Watford? Gray, is it? Yeah, let's say Gray. And, they've done it before. They bought Chris Wood. You know what I'm saying. And then stats are pretty solid. 19 starts in the Premier League for a team like Burnley who, for 75% of their season was very poor, and he was pretty much the only kind of shining light in it. But 3 goals, 5 assists, and then all his numbers there on the left hand side are all over that 1.2 mark, so very credible first season at 19. He's got a lot of potential. And then the last person we come to, I had no idea who this was, and that is Danilo Cataldi. Okay, now the little comment that came along with it saying that he'll probably play a lot more next year. Okay, now he's a little bit older again. Okay, so he is 6 years younger than me, so he'll be 25. And you can see he's very cheap. He's 23 pence. There's not really much room for error, for it to go wrong really. And this is the only press article I could find that's worth reading. Feel free to pause the video and read through it in your own time. But basically they're looking to give him a new contract. He loves Lazio, he's a big Lazio fan. The fans have taken to him, and next season they look to probably make him a bit more of a focal point of the team, with probably SMS heading out. And it's that article you can see I've clicked on there. His stats are pretty good, so in the Europa League he played 6 times, twice off the bench, and his stats are okay, and then in the league he played 4 starts, 8 off the bench, 2 goals, 1 assist, and his numbers are decent enough considering how limited his appearances were, so decent enough little guy. And yep, so 10 off the bench, 1 goal, so you can see out of those appearances, 12 of them in the league, so 16 all in, 10 off the bench, 1 goal. And then centre mid, you can see 6 starts, 1 goal, and his average rating when he starts is pretty high, so could be one for, I've got on our page here. And 1 game up front he played 7, nice. Yeah, decent enough little guy. If you're into it, go for it. And that is it, guys. Okay, so we're going to dive into the portfolio now, and we're going to make a decision. Okay, so we've deposited £30, and that £30 is the money that I would have betted on the Champions League final had I still had an active online gambling account. Okay, now as I was doing this, I was really torn between a few people. Ferran Torres, Nathan Ake and Remy Odin especially are the 3 that I keep gravitating towards, but I've decided to go with Remy Odin, quite simply because if he does come to the Premier League, then that 60 pence will move away quite quickly. And the person I'm thinking about, just especially because of who's been linked with, if you look at Almiron and the kind of spike he had off the back of just signing for Newcastle and coming to the Premier League at the time, was a considerable spike, you know, when that came in back end of January, you know, and then he had a good couple of games, he really flew off the handle, you know, so I've got that in mind. So we're quite happy to get Remy O'Dean and join him into the portfolio, which is nice for the numbers as well. £30 at 60 goes perfectly. Excellent. Okay guys, so thanks a lot for tuning in. So next week's People's Portfolio begins now. Leave your suggestions in the comments section below and we will run through them this time next week, guys. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the Champions League final over the weekend. I hope you did well dividend wise for the Europa League final, and I'll catch you on the next video. If you're new around here, like, share, subscribe, retweet, all that good stuff, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, bye bye.